This week marked the end of summer for many of San Diego's school children, and despite a pep talk earlier this week to students around the country from President Obama, many kids in California face crowded classrooms and cuts in programs due to the state's budget crisis. KPBS reporter Joanne Farian spoke to California's Superintendent of Public Instruction, Jack O'Connell, about the big picture for education funding in California.
This is the worst year that I've seen, and it's cumulative. It's not just a one-year reduction. This has been on top of several years now of schools not getting as much funding as they should. We haven't made it the top priority in Sacramento like I would like to see it made, and we simply have not been investing in the future. When you look at dollars spent per student on a per capita basis compared to the other 50 states, we are an embarrassingly low 47th. We're not making the type of investment in the future we need to do if we're going to remain economically strong, if we're going to continue to remain for our country an economic giant. It has to come from California. The cutbacks in public education are real, they're seen, they're dramatic, they're felt. We're seeing larger class sizes. We're seeing more teachers that have been laid off. Fewer classes in the arts and music, career technical education. More fees being imposed for bus rides, for athletics. Fewer nurses, counselors, librarians. And I just wonder, I'm afraid, what's this going to do to dropout rate? What's this going to do for our graduation rate? To make sure that we have our students, in school, on task, preparing for their future. The citizens understand education's the future. Education's the great equalizer. Education is key to California's economic recovery and key to California having a well-skilled, well-educated, analytical, problem-solving workforce.
So here we have the school superintendent basically saying education is key to California's economic recovery, and yet we're near the bottom in spending in education. Why this disconnect, John?
Well, this disconnect exists because we have a governor who made some decisions in terms of balancing the budget that he would take monies from education. We had efforts to take the lottery funds that we earmarked for education. We now have a $6.1 billion current deficit in terms of going into the school year. And so obviously the people who agree with the superintendent in terms of education being important are not the people who are making the budgetary decisions. And that's where the problem is, because there's a limit to how much the superintendent or the state or the counties can do, as opposed to the governor's line item veto, where he just takes money wherever he decides.
And what power do the local, let's say, school districts have on making a decision on where the dollars go? For example, what impacts do we see locally from fewer dollars?
Well, the local school boards have a great impact. In some districts, they've decided to lay off teachers. In others, including San Diego Unified, there were no layoffs, even though there's been $250 million in cuts for the past 18 months. The one thing that I'd like to say about education in California, there's this doom and gloom. First of all, we are all dealing with budget cuts. We are dealing with them at my work. John is dealing with them. I'm sure you're dealing with them at KPBS. So a lot of people who are watching this show are probably at home saying, well, welcome to the real world, Mr. Superintendent. And there are a lot of things also that are going right with public education. There's all this doom and gloom that people, I hear it all the time from people who call our desk complaining about public education. Well, the dropout rate in California has improved. Where now you only have 1 out of 10 students in San Diego Unified, for example, that are dropping out. They're pretty good. California standards testing, which were just released, the results from this past spring, have improved tremendously. San Diego Unified in the summer had a boot camp for AP and IB classes in schools aimed at minority and low-income students.
So you're sounding hopeful.
I think there is a lot of hope.
Do you agree with David?
Oh, yes. I mean, history shows that we make progress with public education in spite of the numbers. We've always had issues in terms of class size being overcrowded. We made a decision about a decade ago that we would do something to address class sizes from, say, 1st through the 4th or 5th grade. And then when you get up to secondary, middle school, secondary on, we have the problem we've always had. So this is not new.
Tell that to Terry Greer, who just resigned as superintendent of schools for San Diego Unified. I mean, why is he leaving?
I think Terry is leaving because he's got a better world in Texas. He doesn't have the budget problems. He's got more income. He's got more love. He's got a board that wants him. And when you look at his age and where he is, he's saying, why should I stay here? Why not go and explore the possibilities? After all, he's a professional superintendent. He's not a monk or a saint who came here with a preordained heavenly commission to stay through all of our problems.
Okay, very briefly, you've been covering for a very long time in education. How bad for San Diego Unified that the superintendent is leaving?
It's not horrible. It's, he has instituted a lot of changes that if we continue with these changes, hold some promise. But it's not just Terry Greer. Carl Cohen, Dr. Cohen, he instituted some wonderful changes also. And Alan Burson, I know a lot of people don't like to hear that name, but he started getting us onto a track, the right track.
Okay, well, I want to thank you very much, David Ogle, John Warren.